you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 15 upsets to bet. No one hits more upsets than us. I'll be live Saturday, live betting all 3 games. Come join me. Let's get paid. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to the first game. We got the Denver Broncos at the Detroit Lions. Broncos are +4. Broncos +5 was the money pick yesterday on the spread show. And we know we have the kiss of death. I think the Broncos can win this game. And I'm looking at the Detroit team that their back is up against the wall. And I'm not sure they can fight their way out of it. I am worried about some of the things I've seen. For instance, a lot of people are saying, oh, Goff's just bad outdoors. His arm's stronger inside. I'm not seeing it, man. I'm seeing Goff struggle to throw 15-yard outs, and we're seeing the Lions offense play that way. Everything is 0 to 15 yards down the middle. We're seeing nothing vertical. We're seeing nothing to the outside. And Detroit's been running it really well. I mean, they ran it well against Chicago. They ran it well the 3 games before, but even with that, we're not seeing Goff get into a rhythm. We're not seeing those throws that go down the seam for 20, 25 yards. And outside of Laporta, it just seems like Goff has no symbiosis with his wide receivers. Like, look at St. Brown in this game. He's going to be up against Surtain Jr. I absolutely love the way the Broncos match up. But the most important thing to remember about this Detroit offense is they're making a ton of mistakes. I mean, look at how they lost to the Bears last week. And Goff had a fumbled snap. He's thrown interceptions. And when you talk about the Broncos, they're just a team that's not making mistakes. They're doing nothing sexy. They don't get a lot of big plays, but they grind you out. They grind you out, and this Broncos running game is getting better. And we're looking at a Detroit defense. Remember the first 6 weeks of the year, this Detroit defense was pretty damn good. After that, I feel like they're getting incrementally worse each week, and I think the Broncos can take advantage of that. Russell Wilson is playing better on play action. The Broncos offense, they're not going to throw it a lot. You're not going to be surprised by the route combinations, but one thing they do is they run it up the middle, play action, and they try to hit you deep. I think the Broncos will have those plays, and I'm just not trusting Detroit right now because of Jared Goff. Next game, NFC South. We got the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers are +3. Listen, this is pure fundamentals. We've seen very little evidence from the Panthers that suggests that they're A, getting better, B, Bryce Young's playing better, and C, that they're capable of beating even bottom-tier teams like the Falcons. But I can also say the same thing about the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, I was a big Arthur Smith defender last year. He won us a lot of money last year. But honestly, I think he's losing this locker room, and I think he's losing the plot. You know, we can talk about Ritter, and I've been talking about how bad he is the whole year. But a big problem with this Falcons offense is lack of sophistication in the run game. They run 26 duo. They run outside zones. But other than that, we don't really see a lot of different run combinations. It's very basic. It's very vanilla. And it just simply isn't working. You can go look at Bijan Robinson's stat lines. We know he only gets 10 carries, but in those 10 carries, he's just not doing a lot. And with all the money invested in the O-line, you would expect a little bit more. And I think the Panthers defense will have something to say about that. I don't think the Falcons will be able to run. And when you get Ritter in those situations, he has been making more plays, but you know what comes, the interceptions. And when you look at this Ritter versus Bryce Young, I know it's kind of like comparing, do you want to die by asphyxiation or do you want to drown to death? I get it, but I trust Bryce Young to take care of the ball better than Ritter. Their stats prove that, but even the eye test proves that for you. And I think the way to attack Carolina is you got to throw it deep against their defense, spread them out, 3-4, slang it. If Ritter does that, we know he'll throw 2 or 3 to the Panthers, and I think that's the difference in this game. And also, we're seeing a Falcons defense that has put up a valiant effort this whole year, but I do think they're getting a little bit tired. Chuba Hubbard and this Panthers offensive line is one aspect of this Panthers team that's playing better. I think the Panthers run the ball better. I think the Panthers win this fucking game at home. Dome team traveling outside. I like the fundamentals of this. Next game, we got the New York Giants. DeVito at the New Orleans Saints. Giants +6. Giants. I love them. I love the Giants to cover against the Packers too. I didn't see the win coming, but I think they can win this game here. And our analysis of the Saints has been right the whole year. This is like the Ottoman Empire. It's a dying regime. They don't know they're done yet. They keep investing, but they're done. Mediocrity is the best they're going to get, and I think they're playing a Giants team right now that is feeling themselves a little bit. They have a little bit of confidence. They have a little bit of mojo, and I think that's enough to beat the Saints. This is a Saints team that just isn't very good. I mean, defensively, they got a bunch of good players. Offensively, they have a bunch of good players, but you need to look at the coaching, and you need to look at how old this team is. I don't know if there's an older team in this league, especially when you look at key positions, and we're getting late in the season. The bones are feeling raggedy, and I think this Giants team can come in and shock them. Now, when you look at DeVito versus Carr, listen, both the Giants offense and the Saints offenses, they're pretty bad. I mean, this Giants one is improving. I don't want to be too harsh on DeVito, credit to him, but both of these offenses are pretty bad, and you're not going to get a lot of big plays down the field. But I like the Giants defense against the Saints defense. I feel like the Giants defense is playing with more verve, playing with more energy, and I think they can force more matchup issues. If the Giants offensive line can just hold up in this game, give up 4 or 5 sacks instead of 9 sacks like they did against the Commanders, I think DeVito can make more plays than Carr. Carr's banged up. We might see Jameis. You just don't know with the Saints, but we know we're not going to see 2 Saints wins in a row, right? I just don't think they're capable of doing that. Next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Them boys at the Buffalo Bills. Cowboys +1.5. When we picked it yesterday, it was 2.5. I mean, this isn't the blockbuster upset everyone's hoping for, but I get it. Cowboys traveling across the country to play outside cold weather against the Josh Allen-led team. I get it. Let's show a little bit of respect. But I think the Cowboys are going to curb stop them. And let me ask you this question. Now, I was surprised that the Cowboys offensive line completely dominated the Eagles front 7 last week. Some of you weren't, some of you were. But either way, I do think the vulnerability of this Bills defense is the front 7. I think you can get physical with them. The defensive tackles are small. And when you look at this Bills defense, they've been missing Matt Milano the whole year. They got small linebackers, a small defensive line that's not good with run fits. I think the Cowboys can have a field day up front, and I think they can push them around. On the other side, I've been questioning this Bills offensive line the whole year. And I know Josh Allen doesn't take a lot of sacks, so the stat guys say, he doesn't take sacks. Well, it's because he stiff-arms 300-pounders and rolls to the right and slings it sidearm. Like, it is tough to sack Josh Allen, and I do think the Cowboys defensive line can win this battle, and I do think they can have a field day against this Bills offensive line. And you're just looking at a Bills team, like, credit to them for what they did against the Chiefs last week. But I wasn't too impressed. Like, I don't think this Bills team is on some sort of last dance, some sort of Alamo, some sort of renaissance. I think this Cowboys team is just fundamentally better. And the biggest reason is this Cowboys run game. But I'm also going to say something, man. I trust Dak Prescott right now more than Josh Allen. And Josh Allen threw a lot of balls up. You guys remember those underhand passes last week against the Chiefs. I trust Dak Prescott more than Josh Allen. This will be a playoff type game. Cowboys win this fucking thing. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Let's Slide Bet Saturday. Come get this money with me. Patreon, $5 a month. Let's get it, man. We've been on fire.